Everybody, welcome back to Play Casket with your hosts, Paraka the Goblin, and
Ghost, your co-host.
And as well,
Rusty Bones.
And this week, we're going to actually kind of recap. This last week's going to have been entertaining for game announcements. You get some cringe announcements, you get some decent announcements, you get some weird stuff that gets added to the center, that gets memed all over, and variety of places. So we're going to go ahead and cover two main known... words are hard. We're going to cover two main showcases that came up this last week. One of them being Sony's hyped up legendary showcase that they were just really kind of getting everybody's like, you guys ready for this shit?
So this is supposed to replace E3, right?
I think this one was basically to replace E3 for Sony, at least.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Marvelous, we're also going to be covering as well. Just basically uses it because they weren't really an E3 anyway.
Okay.
It's just their way of oh wait, we can get our names out better this way anyway. Which is, we're probably going to see more of that anyway going forward. We kind of predicted this anyway, so let's stop using the word anyway and get right to it. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Rusty because he's not been in here for a little bit. We're going to start with Sony Showcase. Cringe. How was it?
Mid.
We're attracting the Zoomers with this slang. This is great.
Well, thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening, and tune in. No. So, was there anything that you really liked, or was there anything that was kind of cringe when you were watching? Oh my God, please stop talking about this thing.
Well, I was kind of hoping for some new footage on the Wolverine game, because
I completely forgot there was a Wolverine game, to be honest. We even glanced through a bunch of the recaps on our phones and computer screens and stuff, and I completely forgot about that. Nothing registered to me. So that was just missing that sucked.
Well, I mean, I didn't really expect it. I just was hoping, but
right.
I mean, Snake Eater looked like it could be cool, but they didn't really show much. Although, and then you get a nice close-up shot of his head, and I always keep wondering, how does he keep his headband over his eyebrows like that? You got pasties? Is he insecure about his eyebrows?
Stickers, right?
Japanese game magic.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. He's able to keep it on there when he's pummeling the crap out of Pikachu too. So it's got to be some kind of magic.
I'm kind of curious to what version we're gonna get. If it's the 3DS version's the best one, I think. If you guys haven't the chance to play it,
if it's a remake, watch them kind of completely retell a story so they can go a completely different direction with 4. Think about that. They're gonna be they're going to pull a whole Final Fantasy VII remake on it and just completely retell the story in a completely different way.
Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, if it gets that Resident Evil treatment, it's this is a different game. It's not Metal Gear. I don't know.
I can agree with that. Isn't Snake Eater the one where you can also pause a game, I think, and then just come back 2 days later and the sniper dies or something like that?
Yeah. So basically, the in-game clock affects real world time affects how you heal, how food is kept too.
So the old guy dies. How much do you, and this is not even made but within Konami's internal studio, right? It's an external project basically, from my understanding.
From what I heard, it's done by a different company. So an external project. So, do we want to take bets if that type of system is going to be completely removed because they won't have the technology ready for that? No, I think they'll have it, but I just think certain things will be a little more different. I would say I would hold off to see what they're going to do. If anything, it just looks like they're uprising stuff, but I'm curious what they're going to say if it's for a modern audience or something stupid like that.
Well, when they say the words remake, I kind of expect them to kind of do a completely overhaul to it, too. Resident Evil remake of 1, when they first did it for the original GameCube, they did tweak a lot of crap in there.
Yeah, okay.
And then, of course, when they did the remakes for Resident Evil 2 and 3, they completely did everything in a way that it was like a middle ground between how 7 and 6 were playing and how the 7 and 8 were playing. So it's kind of like a weird middle ground, but it plays completely different now because of that. And on top of that, they got rid of the weird, like, their first remake for the GameCube kept most of the, like, interesting secrets and unlockables that they used to have in the original PlayStation game. But when they did the new remakes, they're like, since they did a whole overhaul, they just forego a lot of that. Like, a lot of interesting stuff, like how you can single shot kill Nemesis for once, or how Nemesis even attacks you.
Yeah,
you know. So, I feel like that's probably what's going to happen to Snake Eater as a remake. With the word remake being used for games like the Resident Evil 2, like Final Fantasy 7, they're going to be completely redone in a way that doesn't feel like the original. Now, I'm not saying this is going to ruin the original, because when you think about it, the original still exists. And I hope a lot of developers kind of understand that, so they can still port original games.
Yeah, just give us the freaking HD, because I think we got.
Well, that's actually the other follow-up that they announced was a Metal Gear collection of the original ones.
No, I think that's the remake trilogy.
No, and it said, like, right here, PlayStation also announced a Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1, which includes Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, and Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which is coming to the PlayStation 5 at some time this fall. So, I feel like that's being told as a and I'm thinking this is going to be a digital thing. I don't think it's going to be a physical thing, because companies like to have control of how we play our games now.
Okay, so we're getting the trilogy, and then we're getting 3 as a remake.
Yes, from my understanding.
Okay, that's like so confusing.
Yeah, no, I had to read it a couple times too. So, at least, if the remake sucks, we still have the other one.
Yeah.
So, rest easy.
Fingers crossed, I hope.
Yeah. So, that's also kind of gives me a hint that I think the remake's going to be doing something different. If they're already like, we should probably get this kind of aligned up. Okay. I'm actually surprised Konami hasn't tried to release a Metal Gear Solid collection on the Switch as well. Just up-resed HD, which would work on a Switch, honestly.
Well, Konami's has been really weird about how they're doing things.
Dude, they're weird on everything. They literally, look how long it took them with that the Castlevania Game Boy Advance collection.
Well, because I think Metal Gear 1 and 2, or is it Metal Gear 2, is on Epic Games. I don't know.
Ghost passed away.
Well,
he just became completely see-through and had to come back. Like, he had to check out for a moment. He's like, hold on a moment. Goes into his little room, just tapped up something and kind of faded back in here. He's like, all right. Well, answers.
It was a lot of really weird things, because basically they released it and they're like, oh shit, there's this copyrighted music. It's coming off. Okay, now it's back on the store, and everybody's just like, oh, cool, I guess. And I heard it runs like shit too, so
we'll see. Of course, there might be that enough power on the PlayStation 5 to just hide their optimization crap, because I feel like a lot of companies are doing that too. But that's an entirely different story. We're not going to get into that, because then we're going to have a huge 45-minute rant of me like we did with Pokemon. We're not doing that.
But yeah, you guys got to play Snake Eater. I think you guys will like it. It's very memey.
So, what about going back to the original question, Rusty? Is there other things you actually got really hyped for, though?
Not really hyped.
Nobody was really hyped. Like, even when I saw stuff there, like, people are saying, man, Final Fantasy 16 looks really cool, I'm gonna buy my system that. But even then, they're like conflicted. Quite a few, like, not more than just one person. Like, they're all like, oh, do I really want to spend that much for one game? Like, I try to keep a policy for any new console to get five exclusives that are absolutely 100% either completely better or unique on the system, or you can't get it anywhere else. Like, and I'm not just saying any exclusives. I'm not going to just pull rabbit out of my butt and like, oh, this is all good enough. No. It has to be exclusive for me to go, okay, this is good. This is worth it for me. One game can never do that. Like, even if the Switch 2 came out and Nintendo was like, hey, we're releasing Donkey Kong Country Returns 3. Okay, bye. Like, I'm not buying into that. You know, I'm not doing that.
Well, the thing about Final Fantasy 16 as well, too, the director accidentally blurted out that it's like a 6-month exclusive or something like that.
Oh my god. That's bad, too.
I'll have to find it. I'll plug it right here. But,
oh,
yeah, and then,
wow.
and then Sony came out, like, really pissed off. Like, why the hell did you say that? He's like, oh, it's great on Sony. Please buy it to support us. Yeah.
Oh my god. Dudes, if I could feel the pain for Sony right now. Like, it's not like I don't even want to play like the fanboy war, flame war nonsense. Like, it's just, God, it must really hurt being a PlayStation fan. There was even a dude, the amazing Lucas, that was like watching it live, and he was like trying to amp up everybody. Like, come on, guys, this is the PlayStation 5 has the games now, guys. And then people were like, but where? Just, oh my god, whatever he was smoking, I was like, it's illegal in all 50 states. Whatever that was, stop.
Spider-Man exclusive?
Spider-Man's going to be temporary exclusive. It's a console exclusive. It's a Sony game. It's going to end up on PC as well, because Sony is hemorrhaging money everywhere. Sadly,
I'm mildly hyped for that.
See, it's probably one of the better licensed games. I'll say that. Like, I'm not going to knock it entirely, but it's still a licensed game. And when it's a licensed game, I'm also looking at the future of stuff like that, because even when you get a good licensed game, you have to renew those licenses. Like Rocksteady Studios is not going to be able to relicense the Arkham series and get those ported. You're not going to see those ported properly without, like, basically bureaucratic nonsense mixed in it with it, because they're like, oh, well, you need to do this and this and this. Why I'm never really that excited with licensed games. Even if it's a major company that does stuff and it's like really good. Like I said, the Arkham Knight series, Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight, Arkham City, really great games. I'm not excited. Even if they come out and announce a sequel to that, I can see it being good. I'll never knock that. I can see where a lot of people are like, no, I'm actually excited about that. Okay, cool. I can see why you guys will be. But for me, it's just like, it's always licensed games. I don't know why. It's just one of those like, oh, I'm never going to see this again, am I? You know? Mm-hmm. So, there's that. But anything else you want to add to that? Anything humorous? Anything other observations or anything?
I don't know much about Marathon, but the one thing I noticed was that given props for is the art direction was interesting.
Destiny Quake. Yeah, no, I just remember it being knocked a lot. I don't really have much opinion on that either.
That's the only thing I really noticed.
That's it. Like, I just remember, like, the thing is, what was funny is I remember being announced, I remember being shown, I remember it being, like, quote unquote released softly, and like people talked about it and memed on it, and then it just disappeared, and then it went away.
It's not Destiny.
Like, it's Destiny Quake. Destiny Quake.
I gotta say the name's kind of forgettable too, because I kept trying to remember what it was called.
Oh well, that's another thing that I really don't like. A lot of these games are very like, they're like trying to be like mysterious by making the most mundane word. It's just like the same how movies are like, this summer, be prepared for the ride of your life. Uber. Like, it's just, what? You know, like, it's just wheel.
Well, you bury your search engine
Gear
optimization
shift.
too. I remember it was like Scarlet, and then it was like, you probably gotta look Scarlet the video game on Steam, and then that's the only way you can find it.
Well, so I buy a lot of import games, and this is very poignant to basically this namesake thing. When I get several import games, I like how there's consistency on the spines, so I'll actually like remake some of the covers. So there's more of a North American ESRB ratings text and stuff like that on the spine and the ratings and all that. One of the hardest ones I did isn't one that was so obscure. It was just one of the weird $15 games that were a knockoff game called 3D Mini Golf. Try looking that up on any web search engine, not just Google. They will just show you any 3D mini golf game ever. Even if you type in mini golf game, the video game, and try to put in nope, all of them. I had to literally play the game and take screenshots of that game in similar positions to put it onto the remake this cover so it looks legitimate. And it was because you couldn't find it. I tried for weeks just trying to find like decent assets for it.
It's kind of like if Chat GPT made a game.
Yeah, basically. Like it was crazy. So I understand where Marathon. But then again, at the same time, Destiny also had some trouble like that too until I think it was just the drama between them and Microsoft or something like that.
Oh, okay.
That was the big issue. I think that's what put them on the put their name out there. I think because Destiny kind of flatlined.
We'll Ghost, see what they do with Marathon though.
Yeah. They should be like Marathon of Champions. That doesn't help either. That just sounds like a mobile game. So Ghost. What was your cringe and what was your excitement of that Sony nonsense?
Okay, so the one thing I'm really excited about is Dragon's Dogma 2.
Dragon's Ligma? What?
What?
So Dragon's
Ligma scales.
Better than Ligma 1. But Ligma 2 is pretty cool, right? Oh man, it looks great though. I was like, I'm super hyped that it's an original IP too, because the summer that it came out, it was just kind of like generic gray shooters, and then generic gray realistic shooters, and then Dragon's Dogma comes out. And
in retrospect, Dragon's Dogma wasn't that much different as far as those gray colors.
It does something different. It does something different. That's why.
You did have to squint and go, wait, hold on a moment. This one had a dragon.
But it did something different it
did blend in though. That year it did blend in because the colors were just so dark and muddied and stuff, just like everything else was that year. And I think that's one of the reasons why Dragon Dogma was overlooked though.
Yeah, true.
It was severely overlooked. Even when it was ported over to the Switch, I completely forgot that it was existent. I have it right there.
It's such a good game that I love it.
So.
And yeah, it looks just as good as I remembered it. It goes back to the PS3.
Brand new game, just as much as I remembered.
goes back to the PS3, and I'm like, oh my god, that looks terrible. But I haven't played
Jaggies. What the hell was I thinking?
I haven't played Dark Horizon. I should probably boot it up and just start playing that. But yeah, man, I'm just glad it's something that isn't Devil May Cry 6 or Resident Evil, the Uncharted Chronicles. Yeah.
You know what's really funny is Devil May Cry 5 still looks funner than Devil May Cry 4. 4 just looked so unfun. That 5 actually looked really good in comparison.
5 they actually finished it. 4 I could see the what is it, the limits of what a console had was what 4 was, because a lot of it was kill something and then it needs to load to the next mission, and then you kill something and then it needs to load to the next mission.
It's Asura's Wrath all over again.
Yeah, and then you kill the boss and then it needs to load to the next mission, and I was like, this could have been just one freaking stage. I see.
Yeah, well, I think another part of it is I do think a lot of, and this is going to be a completely different topic eventually too, I want to cover on eventually, is I think a lot of the power is being severely underused and is used as a giant rug to hide a lot of optimization problems that a lot of companies are just not even bothering doing anymore.
Yeah.
That's another problem. And then when they port it over the Switch, it's because the Switch isn't as powerful. And I'm like, this shouldn't be happening in general. So That.
But yeah, and Celine better be in there. If Celine's not in Dragon's Dogma 2, I'm gonna riot.
Celine is the dragon now.
Okay.
Now you have to slay her.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Right. She's in there.
Dragon mommy.
I think the cringe moment was Foam Stars.
Coom stars?
Coom Stars. I hope it's
Oh
good.
my god! It's not. No, it's not, dude. Okay, so the one of the arts, it has there's this one like promotional image of the character, and it's just one of her like staring straight in the camera and smiling, kind of like looking like she's hiding teeth gaps. She looks like one of those like trashy trailer trash teeny boppers that are trying to dress super slutty to try to impress people in the 90s, like, oh my god, I'm so cool, you don't understand my life type of thing, you know. And like she looks like one of those, right? And I was gonna say this, but I'm gonna like cap on. I was gonna say this as one of my cringe moments, but an observation too. But I thought it was hilarious, and I even mentioned it before, that this game got announced, and people were just memeing on it for Splatoon 3, and for a couple of days, Splatoon 3, like it was still selling pretty well, like spiked really hard. It was in the top 10 again, digital buys and stuff like that. I thought it was hilarious. I shared it everywhere, and one of the Christian areas were like, oh, at least they're not sexualizing kids like this and this. I'm like, that's the art style. All those squids are still in their late teens. You know, like, it was such a weird situation experience on that. I thought it was just hilarious.
Everything
like,
is sexualized by anyone.
He's like, excuse me, at least they're doing it to these people instead of these creatures. I'm like, who the hell? He's just sitting there going, oh my god, is that a leg? Totally just uncouth right now, guys. You're Matt Walshing all over my nonsense. So, yeah, no, I think that was just hilarious. Like the fact they're like, "Hey guys, look at our crazy teenage anime as fuck game that's totally not Splatoon."
It kind of brings me back to like what is it? Mature Nintendo. Because like that thing, they killed the comments and they killed the ratio. But it just brings it back to like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we had a mature Mario? Wouldn't it be cool if we had a mature Zelda? And
that
then, like,
shit.
Wouldn't it be cool if we had a mature Splatoon? And look what happens.
So this is what I think is really hilarious, because I remember everyone used to talk about that. It's like, we need a mature Zelda. Twilight Princess isn't enough. We need something really hardcore. We need something that grew up with us. Like, they're just... And then somebody's like, what if I make a game that's like that, but based off the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse? How metal is that? They're like, yeah. And they're like, here's this game. I don't care.
I want Zelda. Yeah.
I want Zelda to be this way because it validates me somehow. Like, you literally had a whole series, multiple games that said, we are the mature Zelda. That, dude, Darksiders 2 was basically Breath of the Wild before Breath of the Wild, and y'all still didn't buy it.
Sorry.
It's a really cool game.
Dude, it's actually...
The design's really good, too.
Two is really good. Okay, and I think what's funny is when you start looking at 3 and then start reflecting back, each one of those games with each one of the characters plays a completely different type of way. And it's to represent those characters. War is basically your traditional Zelda. You literally go to places, go to do the dungeons, blah, blah, blah. Darksiders 2 with Death had more kind of like the Breath of the Wild feel. It was more open world. And then Fury with Darksiders 3 was basically Dark Souls. A lot of it was very combat oriented. So you had all three stages of adventure game and 3 different types of experiences, widely available even to this day. And y'all like, where's the mature Zelda? Like, that's just the most... it is hilarious to me that they literally do that all the time. Like, man, it would have been cooler if it had real things in it.
So, yeah, we have, like, a realistic, mature Splatoon, and everybody's just dogging on it.
Yeah, and it's dogging on it so hard that the sales of the other game is just jumping up.
Yeah.
Like, that's the most hilarious part. I don't even really like Splatoon. I just think that's hilarious in general. You know? So, yeah. And it's my turn, and it's my turn, so I'm gonna go with that. So highlight, really, honestly, there wasn't really many highlights. Like I sat there and I was like, I wasn't really pushed or surprised or kind of even like teased by anything that tickled my interest at all. The only thing that kind of made any type of interest to me was there was a action game. What was it called? Phantom Blade Zero, right? Mm-hmm. It's just like a hack and slash game. It doesn't look too bad. Looks kind of mellow. Looks kind of like it does look fun. The problem is, it looks like just another dark medieval gloom slash game, like Dark Souls and any other Souls like out there. Mm-hmm. So I don't even think it's going to do anything exciting.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember seeing the combat for that. It looks really clean. Yeah. Hopefully, there's because when you see combat in a game, it doesn't look as smooth as Phantom Blades. Phantom Blades are like, holy shit. I hope.
But I like my combat dirty.
Dirty. Well,
he collects dirt for a living. What do you expect?
I guess I'm there's not like weird clipping compared to like Assassin's Creed versus this, because Assassin's Creed, when you're fighting in like a group, you're kind of like, I don't know, you have like the weird ragdolly looking effect, while in Phantom Blade, Phantom Blade, it looks really realistic, and you gotta really pay attention to if you get surrounded. So
yeah, and it looks good. Like it's not, but it doesn't look good to a point where like I need to keep my eyes on it, because it just looks like it blends into everything else too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I'm not too excited, but like if people are out there with a PS5, probably look at this game, because I feel like this game's gonna just get overlooked, like some of the other games I really enjoyed before. That gets overlooked because some other stuff exists in that same ether. But that's really it. That was like the only real highlight. The cringe moment was the system, the new portable cloud game Project Q system. I think it's called Project Q, right?
I think so.
Something
Project
to that point.
Q?
Something to that point. It is their streaming Switch service, basically. It's their Switch wannabe that's super cool, and you're gonna need a constant connection to everything. But don't worry, guys, we're gonna be better than the Switch for some reason, because you're gonna need cloud gaming to actually stream our stuff. Don't worry, it's gonna be cheap. Just make sure you're connected to a really fast internet. Oh yeah. I can see that going. You know what? It's going to be so much better than the Stadia. It's going to do leapfrog from Stadia. And how far did Stadia go? Oh yeah, 2 feet. So you're just going to go 4 feet, guy. You're just going to go 4 feet. That's so stupid. Oh my god.
What I know is, who's this for? Because like, you have the backbone, and then there's also an app that you could just download that you could stream it to mobile devices. Mm-hmm. So why are we selling this again?
So it's basically their way of saying, "Hey, Switch, we're now in your territory," and all these fans are like, "Yeah, we're just gonna own you because we got Switch games and we got graphical power games and we got all these other games that you still need a connection to even play."
Well,
bravo.
If they make it really cheap, if it's like $100, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting that thing like. Hands down.
You go. Let's put it this way: everyone would, like, even if it was $100 theoretically, mm-hmm. right? Everyone would buy it. How many of you motherfuckers would actually play it past the first week? Think about it, because you'd have to stream everything, right? And if your internet sucks sometimes, or if like your horoscope just says you're gonna have a bad day, you're not playing that thing.
Yeah,
you're just not.
That's what they don't know me.
And it's gonna get so inconsistent that you'd rather just not try. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's not even like, oh, it's so bad. No, you don't want inconsistency that just breaks up your gameplay. Like, if you're, like, knee-deep in a game, even if it's a single player, and it just, like, freezes up on you because you can't get past it because your internet just decided to think, oh, I'm having a bad day because I stubbed my toe on a Lego, you're just not going to want to play it. You're like, I'd rather just stay at home and just play this then. You know, like, it's just that bad. Like, that's the whole reason why this Stadia failed. Because the connections were just not secure enough.
That's Google's fault. Google sucks at supporting things, just like Sony. Because did you know the PS Vita also has streaming services. Yeah. Did you also know
the PSP did too?
It's like
the PSP Go. Remember all that? Did you not forget? Did you guys forget the PSP Go, guys?
There's like 8 people who understood that reference.
The 8 people who bought one. But that's still 4 more people than the Wii U.
I really like they really give us stuff that people really want, or at the very least, like stuff where it's like, hey, did you know it could do this?
You know what's the stupidest thing is everyone who is within Sony's market, like people who are a possible buyer of Sony product, all they have to do is release a console, then release some dope ass games. Like that's literally it. But they keep doing some weird other things to try to make stuff more exclusive to that. Like, no, you have to buy our stuff, and you have to buy our memory cards, and you have to buy our controllers, and you have to buy our other services to make sure this one game you can experience anywhere. Why not? You don't want to buy that. Like, this, literally everyone was just going to buy a PS5 to sit down on their couch and play God of War. That's literally the ultimate goal for most people who are buying a PlayStation.
Well, the weird thing is that, like, they don't know where they're headed to, because the people who really like that kind of stuff too has a Steam Deck. Like
some people do. Like the thing is, like I'm still cautious about the Steam Deck, because when you think about it, a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to be just as upgradable. I'm like, no. The thing is, the Steam Deck in of itself is a design owned by Valve. You can't mod it past a certain point, because then it becomes a problem of being able to keep their patent. Like that's the problem I can see happening. That's why Nintendo will more than willingly brick your Switch if you try to mod it. I could see eventually getting to that point too with the Steam Deck. I'm pretty sure Valve's watching it very closely. I'm waiting for the time where somebody passes that threshold. I don't think we've gotten to that point. I think Nintendo's willing to pull the trigger thumb at a moment's notice and does it all the time. That's why they're known to just throw ninjas at everybody, like for any legal situation, even though that's not the threshold that the legality allows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Valve knows that. So Valve says, if we allow them to do it up to that point, up to the actual legal point, maybe we can sell more. But they're probably watching until somebody surpasses that threshold and like, oh, we can't let you actually do that to our product. Because their deck, their design philosophy, and their skills and all that are still owned and still responsibility of Steam Deck. Like, if you did something to the Steam Deck and it blows up, you can still sue them. Even though you're doing your product, you know, putting your stuff and your spin on it. Because they still are liable for the programming, the patents, and the design of the Steam Deck. That's why they do that.
Project Q, guys, right?
Anyway, Project Q, guys, isn't that funny? Yeah.
Almost forgot the name about it, right?
So, yeah, that was very lengthy. We should probably cover Marvelous as well, since I did promise that. This is going to be a long one, guys. Just bear with us. And I will probably start this one, since, you know, we're just doing it back around. So, Marvelous is one of those kind of niche publishers. For some of you don't know, they like to publish anime as hell video games of all kinds, anywhere. Generally, there are a lot of weirdly obscure RPGs, but they also do a lot of other oddball ones. They're actually the ones that are behind publishing and localizing the Story of Seasons series, which was originally Harvest Moon. It's a long story. We're not going to go into that right now, but to top that off, they did announce 2 Story of Seasons games. One that's untitled, they just teased it and stuff, and another one that they also teased at the end of that tease, because they have to do teasers everywhere, but it's going to be co-op. I think the co-op one's going to be fun.
Cool.
Right. Yeah, cool. But I think that was kind of interesting. But the one thing that I thought was kind of and it's not cringe because of the game in of itself was announced. It was actually called Project Magia, or Magia, right? So the artist behind the Eden Zero and the
Fairy Tale,
thank you, designed the characters, and it's going to be it's like Marvelous's version of trying to take the style of some popular artist and turn it into just like Dragon Quest. I feel like that's exactly what they're trying to do. I think that's their main goal. And and they're making this RPG. Ultimately, I see no problem with it. I do not have any problems with the selection, the artwork, or whatever. I'm looking forward to seeing what the game in of itself will look like, right? But there was people, and this is the part that was actually kind of entertaining. There was people out there that were just dashing the crap out of Mashima being the artist for it. And it's because apparently all their characters look the same. And like I had to look back, and I could actually see where their argument's coming from. Because then when I like looked back, I'm like, oh shit, this is a more medieval version of Natsu and Lucy, actually.
Kevin's like, shut your whore mouth right now.
No, I'm dead serious. Like, they could literally have just changed the hair color of the Lucy character, and they're like, maybe not, you know? But no, like, they do have, like, similar eye shapes. They do have the similar hairstyles. They still have the similar, like, stances and stuff. Like, they literally do. So I can see where this argument's coming from. Like, I was like, you know what's funny is if somebody showed me these characters without the context, I probably would have just assumed that's what they were.
Maybe we'll get a Rave Master Fairy Tale game.
They did have a Fairy Tale game, though.
Yeah.
They did. I'm surprised. Honestly, I'm actually surprised Kevin hasn't played that yet. It's an RPG. He should be able to play it. It's on every system. He can easily get it. And it's made by the same people who make the Atelier series. So I'm actually genuinely surprised after he played all Ryza. He's like, I'm going to go and ignore that entirely for some reason. But there is a Fairy Tale RPG he should play. But I can see where this argument's coming from. Like, and as you were telling me when we were talking about this before our recording, you're like, it's for the people who are in the know. I'm like, yeah, but it looks like the people who are in the know are not happy about it. Like, it was a whole thread of people just bashing the crap out. I'm like, damn, I didn't realize this dude had a anti-fan base.
Well, I mean, like, what is it? No reaction is worse, or is it?
Yeah, no reaction is worse than bad reaction.
Yeah.
So I do think I do think that the game's going to probably get more coverage because of that. And who knows? Even if it's like a middling, bland game, it'll probably sell well if the response is strong enough.
Yeah.
Like, look at Hogwarts Legacy. It's not that special of a game, but because of the Twitter sphere, decided to go completely bonkers, made it so much more popular.
Yeah.
Like, it really was. It was a decent game. Hogwarts is a decent game. It's nothing to write home about, though.
Yeah.
You know, but just that bad representation, or, you know, whatever, bad publicity, you might get it. So, but I just thought it was funny. I was like, oh, this game looks neat. And I just like I was scrolling down reading this stuff, and I glanced at the comments, like, what the hell? And I like started scrolling. I'm like, wow, nobody's okay with this apparently. Like, and I was just like kind of just shrugging it off. Like, I just thought, literally, if it wasn't for that comment section, I probably would have not even put this on like the list of, hey, keep an eye on it and stuff. Like, I just thought that was like, it's just there. Like, the Rune Factory 6 is coming out, or teased. Hopefully it's better than 5. Nobody said anything about Rune Factory Frontier 2. I am upset. That's upsetting. But this is now more important.
Isn't Magia an original IP though?
Yes. It's kind of like I said. I think they're getting the artist to do the lead artwork, just like Dragon Quest does.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what they're trying to do. I feel like that's exactly what they're trying to do, which makes sense. Honestly, like, I could see the marketing angle with that. I could see it being profitable? Question mark? Because I don't recall many things of his being too profitable. So, like, when compared to like Dragon Ball Z, let's be real. You know, like, I think it'll be a hard sell ultimately, but I could see the potential with it. I just didn't see. I was not expecting that. And that was. And it wasn't even just one site. I just went to like 2 or 3, and then like there's 3 of them. There's like, we don't like this at all. I'm like, what the hell? Like,
and speaking of not expecting, Daemon X Machina is getting a sequel.
Yep,
I am shocked.
I am shocked. I think the developers of Daemon X Machina is shocked. Like, they've been spending 2-3 years on this development, and they finally pulled it out. Like, wow, that was a teaser for our game. What?
Because what was it? Did it come out? Breath of Wild was like blowing everybody's minds, and then Daemon X Machina came out on Switch like, hey. Where games too?
You know what was funny was that E3. It was the first game shown, and like everybody was like, "Dude, that game's dope." And then the rest of the presentation came out. Like, never mind what happened at the first part. Like, it was like the word. I was like, wow. Like, wait, like people were like, man, way to start swinging, and then they're like, oh wow, they're actually swinging now. Never mind, that was just nothing. Like,
but
and it was funny because Demon X Machina even has like Smash Brothers spirits and stuff. So even Nintendo was trying to tout it a bit too. Like, and it just didn't go anywhere. Like it felt like what Armored Core could be if it was just more about action and less about like
the
part
whole
management and stuff. Yeah,
management
management
thing. Yeah, but I'm glad for them, especially for the Armored Core guys, that people are getting more interested, especially now that we have Fires of Rubicon and everybody's like really interested because Miyazaki's doing it. But I would say tread lightly because everybody's gonna be like, oh, I don't like mecha simulators. Complete fail. Miyazaki's done. Like Miyazaki's washed up.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I can see like literally, like they could make a Dark Souls 4, and if it like kind of even was like moderately okay, they're like, oh, that game's the series is dead. Kind of like, what was it, Metroid Federation Force?
Yeah.
Oh, Metroid's dead to us. That's what we've been asking for, new games forever, and this Metroid's dead. They don't care about us. They did that all the way up to Metroid Prime 4's actual teaser, and then still say, oh, I guess they don't really care about us. They just announced this just to keep us quiet. I'm like, meanwhile, I'm sitting over here as an F-Zero fan going, shut up. Like, this hurts. I'm just trying to prove my point that F-Zero is good. But that is kind of crazy. The Demon X Machina stuff. But yeah, tread lightly for all those who are now new mecha fans. Cuz you're not going to have a good time if you just don't temper your expectations.
Well, it's not hard, but it's like it's not difficult or anything, but it's like, how would I say, Naruto beans, right?
It's an acquired taste.
Yeah, because it's weird, it's slimy, it's kind of bitter, but the people who really like it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that you have to like really appreciate the nuances of like that genre, because nobody really does. Nobody really does.
But the guys who like it really like it.
Dude, they're like the Ace Combat fan base. Nobody else likes realistic ones, but there's dudes out there that's like, no, this is everything a game needs to be.
I love Ace Combat. Even like the radio chatter, I find it really relaxing. I don't know why. Fox 1.
Ghost grew up near airbase.
Yeah.
And he also floats, so he wishes he can fly.
I wish to be free.
So, Rusty, what did you think about the anything that you wish to kind of cover on the Marvelous stuff?
I had no idea it existed. I was spacing out a bit there because I was out of my depth.
He's like, oh, anime stuff. And he's just like sitting there, just leaning back, just kind of going, man, that Foam Stars trailer looks really good compared to when you're trying to imagine what you guys are explaining right now. Like, he's just looking like this. I don't like where my mind's going, but I'm going to allow it. So, anyway, is there anything you wish to add to what we were talking about at all?
No.
Niche RPGs. He's mainstream. That's all we gotta say now. It's mainstream. But anyway, we're just gonna go ahead and wrap this all up now. I'd like to thank you guys all for listening in, hanging tight for this very long episode. I appreciate all of y'all and all of your support. And if you like what you listen to and you want to share it and help us get bigger, feel free to do. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit the bell, all that other nonsense that everybody else does at the beginning of this nonsense. And as always, we will see you on the other side. Hey everyone, this is Paraka.
And Ghost.
I would like to say thank you for listening to our podcast.
If you like our content, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe and share our video with your friends.
You can also follow and support us on other social media such as Minds and Rumble. Links in the description below.